This program is brought to you by Sirius Texas Barbecue. We take our meat seriously.
You're watching Durango TV News. I'm Wendy Graham-Settle. The 416 fire was declared officially contained on July 31st after burning more than 54,000 acres northwest of Durango. Although extreme drought conditions and strong winds drove the fire to the doorsteps of thousands of homes, no structures were lost, nor were any lives. Local emergency response leaders say that interagency collaboration, planning, practice, and luck all contributed to the successful outcome.
I got a call from the Deputy Chief of Operations that evening when we were heavily engaged in the first day of that fire. And he said, I'm standing in Tamaron, and I've got an ember shower raining down around me, and the wind is not slowing down, and we've got spot fires happening all over this area. And for whatever reason, between the aircraft that we had and the crews that we had from all our neighboring fire departments and our federal partners and Durango Fire Rescue being there, we were just lucky to catch every single one of those spot fires and keep that fire from crossing that 550 corridor.
The 416 fire started at around 10 a.m. on June 1st in extremely dry and windy conditions. First responders on the scene were firefighters from Durango Fire and Rescue Authority, local firefighters with the San Juan National Forest, and other agencies. By noon on the first day, La Plata County Sheriff Sean Smith issued evacuation orders for the Iron Gate subdivision, pre-evacuation orders for residents living between Electra Lake and Baker's Bridge, and closed U.S. Highway 550. By June 10th, the most experienced type of federal incident management team in the nation took command. And at the height of the fire, more than 1,200 firefighters on the ground and more than a dozen aircraft were fighting the blaze. Local responders say all those extra resources may not have been available had the fire started later in the season.
The bottom line is that being able to get all those resources, all those hotshot crews, all the aircraft that we had here working, those were godsends. Those people that we were able to get in here, those resources that we had in the air, that made a huge difference for us. And had it happened at a different time, had there been 3 or 4 other big fires that happened before the 416 fire, those resources may very well not have been available.
While much of the media focused on firefighting efforts, local agencies were working in the background organizing a community-wide effort to respond to the fire. An emergency operations center was established to coordinate local and state resources, to manage evacuations and road closures, and to provide the public with accurate and timely information. Public information proved to be critical in the fight against misinformation on social media and to ensure that residents were evacuated safely.
Sheriff and the incident command team would work together to determine, and Sean of course would order the evacuations, at which point that would trigger a code red notification, a reverse 911 to folks who have signed up saying you need to evacuate your home. We would work with law enforcement to figure out what their protocols were going to be, whether they're going to go door to door, whether they're going to just establish a roadblock, whatever their protocols were going to be. Work with GIS to create a map that would go in the press release that mirrored the code red, boundaries that we're calling folks to ask them to evacuate. And this is all kind of happening seamlessly. Meanwhile, we're letting the call center know these evacuations are going to be occurring within the next hour, so get ready because you're going to be getting phone calls. And then it's kind of boom, boom, boom. Code red goes out, press release goes out, it goes on social media, and then everyone's getting the information at the same time. And that way people know, and they can see it visually, they're getting it in text format, and they're getting it in the news. So that was absolutely critical to have everybody in the same room at the same time.
The Emergency Operations Center also coordinated daily meetings between local agencies and the federal management team to identify firefighting and public safety priorities.
Our commitment to making sure that all worked really showed through when we had the incident management teams come in from out of town, out of state in a lot of cases, and they said, "Wow, you you guys really have a great deal of organization already going on here. And they commented time and again, it's so nice just to have to worry about fighting the fire because the community has come together and they're handling all the other aspects.
The teamwork and collaboration that resulted in the quick community response didn't happen overnight, says emergency responders. In many ways, the interagency cooperation rose out of the ashes of the Missionary Ridge Fire 16 years ago, when lack of coordination between local, state, and federal agencies resulted in the destruction of more than 72,000 acres and nearly 6 dozen homes.
During Missionary Ridge, we had 37 days of hard training. And from that 37-day period, as Missionary Ridge was burning, we learned a lot. And we recognized that we needed to be able to improve our role and our responsibility in order to meet the needs not only of the community, but also of the management teams that came in to manage these big fires. And so for the last 16 years, in one form or another, La Plata County Office of Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Department have both been working towards development of programs to where we each can interact and work to serve the community better, and then also represent La Plata County's interests when these big teams come to town.
During the past 16 years, emergency response agencies have signed interagency agreements, trained together under the incident command system, practiced drills like mass school shootings, airplane crashes, or floods, and most importantly, have analyzed their actions to improve response times, communications, and strategies.
There's always going to be hiccups, but I would say more than not, this most recent event really strengthened a lot of those relationships and bonds. Just yesterday, we had an after-action review where all of us got in a room. We had, 40 people there probably, from all of those representative agencies to say, how do we do it better next time? Where did we have our hiccups? All of those things. And I think that's indicative of the leadership and the understanding that we have to have our act together as leaders, working with one another in order to do the best for our community. And I think that got strengthened through this process this year.
The firefighters are in a situation where if everything is perfect, if we're lucky, and if we have the air resources and we have the relationships established with our neighboring fire departments and our federal partners and state partners, everything lined up for us during the 416 fire. And we were incredibly fortunate as a community not to have that be much worse than it was.
If you'd like to know more about the county's emergency response protocols, visit co.laplata.co.us.